Hey guys, welcome in. Adam here with Alesis Drums, and in this video I'm going to show you how to quickly and correctly set up your new Nitro Max E-Kit. Now whether your Nitro Max is still in the box or you've made it halfway through the assembly process before finding this video, no worries. We're going to go step by step and make sure that every component is dialed in and ready to play. And if you only need help with one specific part of the setup process, you can use the timestamps below this video to go to the key moments that you need help with. I'm going to assume that you don't need help opening boxes, but let's quickly talk about the components that are included with your Nitro Max so we can get them organized and ready for assembly. Let's start off with all of these black bars and clamps, which, when assembled, will create our drum rack, or the U-shaped cage that holds all of our drums and cymbals. Keep all of those black bars in an easy-to-reach place, along with your 4 L rods, because we're going to need these components first. Next, we have our 4 drums and 3 cymbal pads, which we will attach to our rack after it's assembled. And here we have the Nitro Max module, also known as the brain. This is where all of the fun stuff lives, and we'll talk much more in depth about how to use the Nitro Max module in other videos. For now, just set this module aside along with all of the included cables. And finally, you should have 2 foot pedals, one for the hi-hat and the other for our bass drum. Set these aside along with your kick tower. One more thing, make sure to find the included Allen key and drum key. These are the only tools that you need for assembly, but they are very important, so keep them nearby. To begin assembling the rack, start by laying out the 4 largest black poles, which will all have feet on them. We'll lay these out parallel next to each other on the floor, and we want to make sure that they're in this specific order. From left to right, you can see we have a single clamp on our first leg, 3 clamps on our second leg, 2 clamps on our third leg, and another single clamp on our last leg. From left to right, we'll call these legs A, B, C, and D, respectively. Now, using the included Allen key, we're going to loosen the top mounts that are attached to legs B and C, and slide them upwards towards the tops of the legs. If you're setting this up for an adult, slide these mounts all the way to the top of the poles, away from the feet. For a child, you can slide them about 6 inches lower. Tighten these mounts back down, and make sure that they're in the same position on both legs. Next, grab your middle crossbar, which is the shorter black pole that has 3 separate clamps on it. This crossbar goes into the holes of the mounts that we last adjusted on legs B and C. When you're putting the crossbars inside of the mounts, make sure that the grooves are aligned and seat the crossbar as deeply as you can inside of the mounts on both legs B and C. Tighten the mounts back down with your Allen key, and we should now have this U shape, which we can lay down on the ground in front of you in between legs A and D, like so. Next, loosen the mounts just below the ones we last adjusted, here. Starting with leg B, slide this mount upward so that it's aligned with the mount on leg A. Then, give this mount a very slight upward tilt and tighten it back down. Now do the exact same thing on leg C. Slide that mount upward, align it with the mount on your D leg, give it an upward tilt, and tighten it down. From here, grab these 2 matching crossbars, which will each have 2 clamps on them. We're going to insert these crossbars into those tilted mounts that we last adjusted on legs B and C. Use your Allen key to tighten these crossbars into place. Now, we can stand this structure upright and insert the ends of our crossbars into the available mounts on legs A and D. This will allow our structure to stand upright. Now, at this stage, it's very important to check all of the mounts and make sure that everything is adequately tightened down. Ensure that each crossbar is seated deeply into the mounts and that you've tightened all of these connections with your Allen key. If any of the crossbars seem like they're not level, this is a great time to make those quick adjustments. Once the rack feels solid, take a moment to orient all of the clamps on your crossbars. They should all be facing the same general direction, with the wing nuts facing towards you and downward. If you hear any clicking or popping while rotating these clamps on the crossbars, don't worry, that is perfectly normal. Just get them all oriented in the same direction and tighten them back down with the wing nuts. Now, our rack should look something like this. Now you probably noticed that we still have one open mount on our B leg. We want to loosen this mount and slide it as high as it will go onto the B leg, then tighten it back down. Now grab this shorter black pole with a single clamp on it. Take the open end of this pole and insert it into the mount on the B leg. Rotate the pole so it's pointed just slightly inwards towards the inside of the rack, and make sure to tighten this one down very well with the Allen key, because this will be supporting a little bit of extra weight for our snare drum. And now the main skeleton of our rack is complete. Once again, take a moment to ensure everything feels good before moving on. Crossbars should be level and seated deeply in the mounts, with each intersection tightened down firmly with your Allen key. Now, to mount up our 4 drums, we start by grabbing our 4 included L-rods, which look like this. Starting on the middle crossbar, insert the black plastic end of the L-rod into the 2 clamps on the right side of your middle crossbar. You might have to loosen the wing nuts here just to fit these in, but just make sure everything is tightened back down afterwards. Leave the clamp on the left side of this crossbar empty for now. Now, grab your 3rd L-rod and head over to your right side crossbar. Insert this L-rod into the open clamp on the right. Again, leave the clamp on the left side of this crossbar empty for now. And our last L-rod will go onto the single lower black pole that is for our snare drum. When all 4 L-rods are installed, we can see all 4 silver rods facing towards the center of the rack. Next, grab your 3 matching 8-inch toms. Each of these are identical, and they'll be placed on the 3 L-rods that are on the right side of the rack. Make sure that the wing nut on the bottom of each drum is loose, then slide the silver L-rod inside of the drum's mount. I found that about 50, maybe 60% of the way onto the L-rod was plenty, so there's no need to slide it all the way up to the crossbar. If you run into a crowding issue with your drums here, don't worry, you can loosen the clamps on your crossbar and slide the drums left or right to make some space. Remember, these toms should be mounted relatively close to each other with no more than a 1-inch gap in between the rims of the drums. Now, these 2 highest toms should be angled slightly towards the drummer, and we do this by loosening the L-rod mounts on the crossbar itself, giving the toms a slight tilt however much we want, and then we tighten them back down into place. There is definitely some personal preference involved here, but matching the angles that you see in this video is a great place to start. Now we'll secure our last 8-inch tom on the farthest right L-rod, but keep this drum level. It does not need to have the same angle as the rack toms did. And now we repeat this process one more time for our 10-inch snare drum. Remember that the snare sits on our lower, dedicated bar on our last remaining L-rod. The snare drum should be kept level with our floor tom, which is the last drum that we installed. And at this stage, don't worry if every drum position isn't perfect. The Nitro Max is very easy to adjust overall, so we have plenty of time to fine-tune all of these positions later. Next up, grab your 3 cymbal arms. These should be the only remaining black components of our drum rack. These 3 arms get inserted into the remaining open clamps on the crossbars, but make sure to leave that farthest left clamp open because this one is for our drum module. Once these arms are installed, we'll open them up all the way so these top wing nuts are facing the ceiling. Then, remove these wing nuts and the felt pads that are on the arms. We'll be putting these back on very soon, so keep them nearby. Now, each cymbal arm will have a small black tab right here, and we want to make sure that this tab is facing away from the drummer by loosening the cymbal arm here and rotating that tab to face outwards away from us. Do this for each of the 3 cymbal arms. Now, for our 3 cymbal pads, you'll notice that one of them is slightly different than the others. The symbol that says with choke on the back is going to be placed here on our middle crossbar, just to the left of our toms. The other 2 cymbal pads will go on the left cymbal arm here and the right cymbal arm way over by our floor tom. Now, when you're placing each cymbal pad, rotate the cymbal so that the black tab on the cymbal arm fits inside of the cutout on the bottom of the cymbal. This prevents the cymbals from rotating when you play. Once your 3 cymbal pads are on the arms, we can reinstall our felts and our wing nuts. While doing this, remember that all cymbals are supposed to move a little bit, so tighten those wing nuts enough to keep the cymbal nice and secure, but a little bit of wiggle room is perfectly normal. Okay, so our rack is complete and sturdy, our drums and cymbals are mounted correctly, and we can now move on to the floor components. Now your kick tower is going to sit right underneath your middle crossbar. Super easy, but it's the kick pedal itself that requires a little bit of quick assembly. To get your kick drum pedal set up, we only need to do 3 things. First, grab these silver bars on the underside of the pedal and squeeze them gently together. Then, just slide the ends of the silver bars into these holes here and release. Easy. Next, on the bottom of your pedal, you'll find a small clamp, and this is used to secure the pedal to the kick tower. Making sure that the pedal is centered on the kick tower plate, tighten the wing nut on the pedal to firmly connect the pedal and the kick tower. This will keep everything from sliding around underneath your feet. And now let's attach our beater to the kick drum pedal. So first, grab your included drum key and keep it somewhere nearby. Now we'll insert the beater into the hole of the pedal that sits just to the right of the chain, with only about a ½ inch passing through to the other side. Then, before we tighten anything down, lift that beater upwards towards the pad of the kick tower. From here, adjust the beater to ensure that the black plastic is what hits the center of that pad, and hold the beater in this position. You can rotate or slide the beater to get it perfectly centered. Now with your free hand, grab your drum key and tighten down the beater at that hole where we first inserted it into the pedal. Now we know that our beater will strike the kick pad in the perfect place every single time. And now for the brains of the operation. In order to get our drum module up and running, we first need to grab our cable snake. Depending on where you're from, this might be called a wiring loom or a wiring harness. I've always found it easiest to start this process by laying out the cables on the ground, but before you untangle any of the cables, find this big plug on the end. We're going to plug this connector directly into the back of our module. Now, in the same bag that included your Allen key and your drum key, you'll find 2 small screws, which we'll use to secure the cable snake's connection to the back of the module like so. So once your cable snake is secure, we can mount our module to the far left crossbar using our last open clamp. Feel free to make adjustments to the clamp so that this module is comfortably facing you when you play. And now you'll be left here with a big bundle of cables hanging off the back of your module. But don't get overwhelmed, because every single one of these cables is clearly labeled, and we're just going to plug them in one at a time. Now, many drummers have different preferences on how they like to run their cables on electronic drum sets, but my advice is to simply work from the left side of the kit to the right and keep the cables as neat as possible as you go, using the included cable ties. If you rush here and you just start plugging things in randomly, you're going to be left with a giant pile of cable spaghetti all over your kit. And one last thing before you're off to the races, make sure to grab your drum key and tighten all of the mesh heads. The heads are left intentionally loose for shipping, but when we tighten them down, the Nitro Max has a much more realistic feeling when you're playing. So just give each lug a quarter turn to the right using a star pattern across each drum. This is going to ensure that the tension is brought up evenly. And that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching this setup tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. Adam here with Alesis Drums, and I will see you in the next one.